So, John, I just had a thought here. You were talking about the innovative businesses and having our kids in college here and coming up with some new ideas and everything. Well, I was thinking about the rural economy and the meeting that we had the other day where you had mentioned that you and your son had a upstart hemp farm that you were getting going, and that we see there's some hemp out there.
Yeah, right on my front lawn.
What little bit I know about the hemp, I read an article about it. I have some hemp clothing that I bought. It's rugged stuff, and the thing that impressed me the most about it was it's like a fraction of the pollution it takes to produce cotton clothing with hemp, and the hemp grows way faster than trees or any of that.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible plant, and because of the 2014 federal farm bill, it actually allowed states to start doing test plots for research. We're hoping that in the farm bill that's going through right now, they're going to make a few more changes. I've been working with the federal delegation and have been in conversations with state legislators around the country about pushing their federal delegation to make sure those changes are in the federal bill as well. Over 50,000 products can be made out of hemp. One thing, a lot of people don't know much about the history of it, and I got a great book on the history of hemp. Henry Ford was going to start making all the panels for his Fords with hemp. You can make plastic out of it.
Right.
And he said he did a test. They made a panel, and they took an axe, and they swung it as hard as they could at the trunk panel on this Ford, and it just bounced off the hemp panel. And then they took it to the regular metal panel of the car right beside it, and it went right through it. Incredibly strong. He was also planning on fueling his cars with it. The type we're growing is for CBD, which people are using for many various health benefits.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. There are gaining, last time I looked, gaining on 200 hemp farmers in the state of Vermont right now. There are several people that are literally spending millions of dollars on setting up processing facilities in the state. So this is really huge for the rural economy. And one of the things that I've always focused on was the rural economy. I sponsored a bill this year dealing with hemp that does several things, but some of the most important ones are it brings us into federal compliance because we weren't totally federally compliant before. But one of the other real important things is it allows our agriculture agency to start testing products. I talked with a person who runs an independent lab, and they were pulling products off the shelf and testing them, and only 5% of what they tested actually had in the supplement what it said it had in it. And so that's bad for two things. It's bad for this startup business because if people take something that says it has 20 milligrams and it has 5 milligrams, they're not going to get the health benefit. They're going to say this stuff doesn't work. The other thing it's going to do is give Vermont a bad name. The Vermont brand means quality. It means honesty and integrity. It means it has in it what we say it has in it. So I'm really excited about those two things. The other thing I've worked on for the last few years is trying to help out the forest products industry. And so I've sponsored many bills this year. Got the final one over the hump. Really happy. The right to forest operations. It's similar to the right to farm bill that we passed some years ago, which says that if you are following the law in a cut, that people can't file a nuisance suit against you. Because what can happen is, say you've got a beautiful forest beside some big development, and you start cutting that forest, and the people in the development like the scenery out their front window. They like looking at that forest. Well, all of a sudden, if they've got money, they can hire a lawyer and tie up your operation, costing you money, making you have to move. We don't want that to happen. We want legal forestry operations to be able to operate unimpeded.